Vă spun bun găsit, dragi telespectatori! Ne aflăm astăzi în Centrul Medical Aura Vita. Ca de fiecare dată, alături de mine este doamna doctor Florinela Balan. Vă spun bun găsit, doamna doctor!
Bun găsit la mine, dumneavoastră sunteți invitata mea. Și eu vă spun bun găsit la noi, pentru că de astăzi înainte o să facem emisiune împreună.
Mă simt foarte bine invitată dumneavoastră.
Sigur că da. Porțile noastre ușile noastre sunt deschise tuturor și așa, mai mult cu atât dumneavoastră, care sunteți invitata mea și partenera mea în aceste emisiuni.
Doamna doctor, dumneavoastră faceți emisiuni medicale de foarte mult timp.
Da.
Aveți deja format un public fidel. De ce există un interes atât de mare pentru genul acesta de emisiuni? De ce oamenii își doresc din ce în ce mai multe emisiuni de genul acesta? Vă solicită, de fapt, inclusiv la numărul nostru de telefon, la numărul redacției, sună foarte mulți telespectatori, ne întreabă când este difuzată emisiunea dumneavoastră.
Da. Știți de ce? Pentru că facem emisiuni medicale, dar și emisiuni spirituale. Și cred că această combinație de medicină cu spiritualitate, care este o combinație, o abordare total diferită, aduce așa, să zicem, sarea și piperul în emisiunile noastre. Este de fapt acel motiv pentru care oamenii se uită la televizor și pentru care le plac acest gen de emisiuni. Medicina holistică în sine este o abordare provocatoare. Este medicină științifică, cu un cocktail de psihologie, puțină psihiatrie, spiritualitate, de asemenea acupunctură veche chinezească, energie chi de la japonez, de exemplu, și fizică cuantică modernă. Este ca ceva nou, o mică plântuță care crește acum și, după cum vedeți, are rădăcini puternice și se dezvoltă în acest moment. Din acest motiv provoacă și place.
Doamna doctor, ne-ați obișnuit din emisiunile anterioare ca de fiecare dată să aduceți în prim plan personalități științifice, medicale. De data aceasta, pe cine ne prezentați?
O să fie foarte frumos pe David Icke, care ne va oferi o călătorie în lume, dar și în lumea din exteriorul nostru, dar și în lumea din interiorul nostru, pentru a afla marile răspunsuri la marile întrebări, adică cine suntem noi, de fapt unde suntem noi, în ce constă realitatea din jurul nostru, ce facem aici, de ce suferim atât, pentru că suferim foarte mult, de ce ne prefacem, de ce purtăm măști, de ce ne lăsăm manipulați.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Icke.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This event today is not about demanding the right from authority to give us our freedom. My freedom, all freedom, is our natural and eternal right, not the gift of some dark suit or uniform to decide if it's going to give it to us or not. It's just about exposing the way they're seeking to enslave us so we can see the game and therefore not play it. As Gandhi said, an error does not become truth by reason of multiplied propagation, nor does truth become error because nobody will see it. Put more simply, in his words again, even if you are in a minority of one, the truth is still the truth. And throughout history, we have seen small minorities of people who have pointed out flaws in the norm of belief, or at least questioned it, who've turned out to be so right that now with hindsight we go, how could anyone ever believe the earth was flat? Or that if you went far enough you would go off the edge. but people did, and it was the norm of the time. And we have norms now that are just as blatantly stupid, with not even the benefit of hindsight, the benefit of what we know now. This is today's flat earth. The fact that we live in the cutting edge of human evolution, the cutting edge of how far humanity has come, turning a planet of enormous beauty into a shithole, ain't the cutting edge of human evolution. We're also being asked to believe, as Orwell said, war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. And we are at the cutting edge of human understanding. As Michael Elner said, just look at us. Everything is backwards. Everything is upside down. Doctors destroy health, lawyers destroy justice, universities destroy knowledge, governments destroy freedom, the major media destroys information, and religions destroy spirituality. We live in topsy-turvy land. Why is everything upside down, everything back to front? Why are there billions of bewildered people who don't understand who they are, where they are, what the whole business of life is all about? The world seems such a ball of confusion and complexity and bewilderment. But it is when you don't have the coordinates to connect things together. Because when you connect the dots, you start to see that apparent complexity as it's played out, an apparent bewilderment as it's played out, has a very seriously clear picture that emerges. Because as you connect the dots between different people, organizations, places, religions, history, suddenly the picture starts to form. Oh, so that's it. If you don't connect the dots, it's just a mass of what's all this about. When you connect the dots, you get the elephant in the living room. Is that there are two prime realities that we are experiencing. We're experiencing the movie. That's the movie version of reality that we're given by the mainstream media, by what passes for education, and all the other sources of mainstream information, which explain away events in the world in a certain way. But behind that, it becomes clearer as the dots join up that there is another agenda behind that, which the movie is simply there as a cover story to obscure and hide. And the foundation of that cover story, or the foundation of that secret agenda, is to get billions of people on this planet to wear a mask and play out a false identity that they don't even know is false. You know, we can talk about banking scams and political scams and secret societies, and we should and we will later on as we go through this. But what those involved in the research of all this whole conspiracy stuff, I feel, need to appreciate is if that's as far as you go and no further, then you too are playing a kind of movie, because you are looking at how it's playing out instead of the real foundation from which this whole conspiracy is based. And that is manipulating people to believe they're something they are not and to forget what they really are. And what we really are is consciousness, infinite consciousness connected to all other consciousness, the seamless ocean of infinity. And we can move our point of observation around that consciousness and express and celebrate its uniqueness, but we are all of one infinite mind, one infinite consciousness. And the illusion of apartness is an experience of this reality, and its extensuation or accentuation by the manipulators is to get us to see ourselves and everything in terms of apartness instead of as a connected whole. This is symbolically, even more than symbolically, the situation that this whole conspiracy is designed to put us in a bubble of consciousness, which I call body consciousness, which is disconnected from its awareness of the full magnitude of what it is, to the point where it operates on a fraction of its true self and its infinite potential. And then, if you want to know what's going on in the world, that's no problem, because these people will tell you everything that the people that control and own their industry think is fit for you to know, so you'll believe and see the world the way they want you to see it, called the news. And then be afraid. It's a world in which we must be afraid all the time, must be afraid of not having enough money, afraid of what's going to happen in all areas of our lives, afraid of the future, afraid, survive, we must survive, or we must always be in a state of fearing not surviving. It's a crazy, crazy world. But why? Why is it an upside down, lunatic world that we live in? People might say, oh, it's all a coincidence. It just happened like that. Well, I would say after 20 years of this, that it is coldly calculated to be like this because of the outcome that it gives those who are manipulating society in this way. And it's not just one level. There are multi-levels to this conspiracy. Yes, there's dark suits sitting around a table and orchestrating this to an extent, but they're still the gophers playing it out. It goes much, much deeper, and we'll go there as we go along today. The reason we are confused about the world and everything that goes on in it is because we don't have the coordinates.
Domnul doctor, ce spunea mai exact David Icke?
Că avem o identitate falsă, că purtăm măști. Vedeți ca în emisiunea dumneavoastră cu măștile, că nu e întâmplător.
Vă invit și eu în cadrul emisiunii cu măștile jos.
Mă invitați oficial, înțeleg. Sigur că da. Și nici măcar nu suntem prezenți de ele. Că, apropo, chiar câteodată nu știm că purtăm măștile acestea. Acum, cine e sub mască? Credem că suntem ceva și de fapt suntem altceva. De unde această dezorientare? De unde această confuzie?
We don't have the coordinates from which to see how things fit together. I remember I was on the Isle of Wight ferry once, and what it does, it comes out of Portsmouth Harbour, it goes along the coast a little bit, and then it turns out and goes across to the Isle of Wight. Well, it was so foggy on this day that you couldn't see the land here, as you normally could. So you're going along, and you just see fog. And after a while, it seemed to me and others that it was just going straight. And I thought, this sodding thing's going to France. What's going on? And I said to one of the crew, what's happening? This is not going the right way, is it? And the next thing you know, the Isle of Wight pier appeared in front of us. It had actually gone absolutely the right way. But because I didn't have the coordinate in which to make sense of that, I was completely lost in the direction I was going. That was so symbolic of the way it works. So I'm going to go through a lot of coordinates today. Because when the coordinates are put into place, then what happens becomes, or what is happening becomes totally blatant as the dots connect. Coordinate number one. Who are we? How few people kind of seem to ask that question, in my experience anyway. But without this knowledge, this key coordinate, how the hell can we understand what's happening and our part in it? Coordinate number one, we are consciousness. We are not the body we think we are. And the idea is to put us in these eggshells of consciousness, and it's a doddle if we don't hold on to an understanding or have an understanding of who we really are and the magnitude of it. Just a quote from one of my books, only when we know who we are can we know freedom. Of course. Unless we know the nature of reality and who we are and our part in it, how can we understand the world if we don't understand the reality that is the world? No wonder we're bloody confused. What is reality? How about that question? Oh no, that's just for scientists, it's not for you. Watch the football. The biggest lie of all of them, on which all the others are based, is it's all an illusion. This physical world is not physical, it's not even out there, it's in here. It's a holographic projection. So I'll come to as we go along. It's an illusion of physicality, an illusion of solidity. We are consciousness. And it's so easy to trick the mind brain to see reality in ways that are not actually what it's looking at. This is this amazing bloke who draws pictures on flat pavements, and yet the mind reads them, the brain reads them as three-dimensional. Does some great stuff. There's another one. We can look at that as, 7 compartments, or we can see that as a box. Depends on how the brain reads it. These color reds are both the same, but because of their interaction and placement with other colors, they look totally different because the brain reads them differently. And how we decode it decides the reality we experience. Major point we need to understand. Einstein, reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. Why it's a persistent one we'll come to before we finish this first section. But reality is an illusion, and we need to understand that. We think that we are physical bodies, and that's who we are. If I want to pick that up, my consciousness could not pick that up because it's vibrating too quickly. It's not in sync in the frequency range of that, so I couldn't do it. I take on this outer shell that operates within the frequency range that I want to experience. Now I can interact with it. Simple as that. We are consciousness working through a physical body. All life is consciousness and energy, animating holographic forms, including plants, everything. We are consciousness. This is consciousness, symbolically, that infinite consciousness that we are. And I saw an eye appear in the consciousness there, and out of it came this telescope. And it was looking into this world that we're experiencing. And as the telescope appeared, so it morphed into a human body. And that's what the body is. It's a telescope that allows consciousness to experience this reality of apparent division, and have the experience of that. But we've got trapped in the belief that that is the totality of who we are. Consciousness and the body interact during an experience here, but the body is not who we are. It's interesting, this energy field we call the aura, whatever, you have energy coming down through the top of the head and out and going the other way, and it's like an electrical burst of energy going through the body, which throws out this electromagnetic field that we call the aura. And interestingly, when you do the same with electric wire, you put a current through the wire, it throws out an electromagnetic field. And in the same way that this happens to us, so it happens to the earth, because everything is a reflection of everything else and works in basically the same way. And this combination of the genetics of the body and the electromagnetic field I call body consciousness. And we have a choice of connecting that body consciousness level of our experience to the great infinite all that is, in which case we will have access to a massively expanded level of awareness and perception and be able to see through what we can't see when we're stuck in the body reality. Or, and that's what this is basically, this eggshell I talk about, it is the body consciousness, the auric field working directly through the body. And if we get isolated in that, then our level of reality perception and what we can perceive and expand our mind to understand is massively suppressed. And this is the situation that we face in this world. People who are infinite consciousness operating at the level of body consciousness. And that's exactly where the manipulators want us. Because if we are not connecting out there and getting our insight, inspiration, intuitive knowing from out there, then where do we look to get a fix on who we are and what's happening in the world? We look that way, through the ears and the eyes. And who's controlling that information? Those that control the media, education, etc. Gotcha. The body, I call it a genetic spacesuit. And it's kind of funny. You know, if you were on the moon with someone and an astronaut started thinking he was his spacesuit, I mean, crikey, can you imagine? Hey, Houston, we got a problem. Bill thinks he's his spacesuit. He's bloody mad because he's not his spacesuit. Yeah, but we think we're our spacesuit. And what would there be in that situation on the moon? There would be chaos. Well, that's why there's chaos here, because we believe we're our spacesuit. That's what makes racism so insane. It's like saying, I'm better than you because my spacesuit's different colour. Bloody ridiculous. But the cutting edge of human knowledge, so why should I complain? We are consciousness working through the body. Now, I got a real amazing feeling for this. About 2 years ago, just before I last spoke here, when my mother died, Barbara, and I went along to the funeral, obviously, and my brother had organized it, and he said to me, do you want to come and see your mum while in the mortuary or at the funeral parlor? And my immediate reaction was, no, I remember her as she was, because it's just a body anyway. But something said, no, go. And for some reason in my life, I've never come across, the first time I've seen a dead body was my mother. And I turn up, and I walk in this room, and there's this body in this coffin, this open coffin. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but it was dead. There was no bloody life there whatsoever. Dead, unbelievably dead, took me aback dead. And next to it was this picture, which my brother had blown up, which was going to go and be used in the funeral, which it was. And there was my mother's absolutely dead body, and there was this picture of my mother absolutely full of life, full of energy, full of sparkle. And I stood there, and I could see in those two images what life is, what consciousness is. Because that was alive, that was dead.